In August 2024, Michigan authorities discovered human remains sealed inside an anhydrous ammonia tank on a rural property in Lenawee County. An investigation into the disappearance of 52-year-old Deanne Warner would uncover a troubling pattern of control, violence, and calculated concealment. This documentary aims to present an honest and unfiltered account of the ongoing case surrounding her husband, Dale John Warner. Deanne Warner was born on 6/30/1968 and grew up in Lenawee County, Michigan, in the small farming community of Franklin Township, where her family had lived for 5 generations. She had 4 children from her first marriage and was deeply involved in the region's agricultural community. Raised in a small farming environment, Warner was inspired by her aunt and grandmother, both strong-minded businesswomen who had succeeded in male-dominated industries. She developed an entrepreneurial drive early, eventually establishing her own ventures in the trucking and farming sectors. But it was in business where Warner truly made her mark. In 2006, Dee married Dale John Warner, whom she met while both were working in agricultural sales for a local company. It was a second marriage for both. The couple had a daughter together, Angelina, and combined their agricultural expertise to build a business empire that included DDW Investments LLC, a successful trucking company, and a custom fertilizer application business. Warner ran the trucking operations herself, managing drivers and logistics while navigating the traditionally male-dominated world of agricultural business. The partnership appeared to offer the empire-building opportunity she had long envisioned. By the time of her disappearance, the couple had been married for 15 years and owned multiple properties across Lenawee County. The relationship was described by family members as toxic. Warner's daughter, Rickel Bach, testified that the marriage consisted primarily of their businesses, with constant arguments over work that drove the couple apart. Dale allegedly used GPS tracking devices to monitor Dee's movements and was accused of stalking behavior. Family members later reported signs of domestic violence, though Warner's brother, Greg Hardy, admitted he had not fully recognized the extent of the abuse at the time. Despite the turmoil, Warner maintained her reputation as a driven and successful businesswoman in the agricultural sector, known for her determination and involvement in the local 4-H community. On 04/24/2021, Deanne Warner told her daughter she planned to leave Dale. That evening, the couple's 9-year-old daughter, Angelina, was picked up by a family friend at 8:34 p.m. to stay for the weekend. Warner intended to have a discussion with her husband about ending their marriage. According to family members, she had been crying and vomiting with fear in the days leading up to the conversation. The night also involved a business dispute between Dee, Dale, and one of their employees, Todd Nierink. By morning, Warner had vanished. On 04/25/2021, Rickel Bach arrived at her mother's home on Munger Road around 9 a.m. for their regular Sunday family breakfast. Warner was nowhere to be found. Phone calls went straight to voicemail, which family members said had never happened before. Dale Warner told the family he had last seen his wife sleeping on the couch at 6:00 a.m. that morning. He claimed they had argued the night before, but that he had given her a massage on the living room floor and carried her to the couch after she fell asleep. All of Warner's phone activity, bank account usage, and social media posts ceased after the night of 04/24/2021. Dale Warner told family members that Dee had left with her travel bag, purse, phone, and curling iron. He suggested she may have run off with another man and taken all the money from their accounts. When Warner's brother, Greg Hardy, contacted Dale, he allegedly said Dee had left him with one hell of a mess. Dale initially delayed filing a missing person report until Warner's family took the step themselves. 3 of Warner's adult children formally reported her missing on 04/25/2021. The family reviewed security camera footage from the farm properties to see if any vehicles had arrived to pick Warner up. No evidence of her departure was captured on camera. The Lenawee County Sheriff's Office launched comprehensive searches for Warner. Search teams deployed helicopters, drones, cadaver dogs, and ground-penetrating radar across multiple properties. In October 2021, authorities conducted a 2-day search of Dale Warner's properties using heavy machinery and K-9 units. The only piece of evidence recovered during the extensive searches was a set of keys belonging to Warner. On 08/09/2022, the Michigan State Police officially took over the investigation. Dale Warner was publicly named as a person of interest. He refused to take a polygraph test and declined to share GPS tracking data from the day of his wife's disappearance with investigators hired by the family. Warner's brother, Greg Hardy, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars hiring private investigators to determine his sister's whereabouts. Billy Little, a former military investigator and attorney, was retained to assist the family. The private investigation uncovered evidence of GPS tracking devices Dale had used to monitor Dee. In September 2022, Warner's children and friends filed a petition to have her legally declared dead. The court granted the petition in early 2024, though her body remained missing. On 11/21/2023, Michigan State Police arrested Dale John Warner at his home in Tipton Township. He was charged with 1 count of open murder and 1 count of tampering with evidence in connection with his wife's disappearance. The case represented a no-body homicide, presenting unique challenges for prosecutors. Warner was arraigned on 11/22/2023, with bond set at $20 million. But Warner's body remained missing. Shu 08/17/2024, authorities executed a search warrant on Dale Warner's property on Paragon Road in Tipton, approximately 4 miles from the family home on Munger Road. Investigators focused on a large anhydrous ammonia tank, similar to a residential propane storage unit, inside one of the barns. The tank had been resealed and welded shut at both ends, repainted, and bore Dale Warner's business logo. Greg Hardy had specifically requested that authorities examine the anhydrous tanks on the properties. On 08/21/2024, the Jackson County Medical Examiner positively identified the remains as Deanne Warner through dental records. The death was ruled a homicide. Warner had been concealed inside what her brother described as a steel tomb for more than 3 years, approximately 855 days since her suspected disappearance. The discovery brought what family spokesperson Catherine Adams called both relief and sorrow, with the family finally able to lay Warner to rest while processing the confirmation of what they had long believed. Greg Hardy told investigators he was relieved the medical examiner had unequivocally confirmed the identification with perfect certainty. Dale Warner, held on a bond reduced to $15 million, pleaded not guilty to both charges. His defense attorney, Mary Chartier, stated that a fair and objective review of the evidence would show Warner did not kill his wife. On 03/03/2025, Dale's son, 28-year-old Jaron Dale Warner, was arrested and charged with tampering with evidence and accessory after the fact in connection with the case. Jaron was arraigned with bond set at $125,000. His preliminary examination was scheduled for 04/04/2025. The charges against Jaron were later dropped by prosecutors. The defense mounted aggressive pretrial challenges. Defense attorneys filed motions to dismiss the tampering with evidence charge, arguing that prosecutors had not presented sufficient evidence during preliminary examination. They also sought to suppress evidence from the tank search, claiming the search warrant affidavit contained false statements. The defense alleged that a detective incorrectly stated Dale was alone at the farm on 04/25/2021, pointing to video surveillance, showing Dee's relatives were also present on the property that day. On 05/30/2025, Judge Michael Olsaver denied the defense's motion for a change of venue. The defense had argued that social media posts, including content about becoming a stealth juror, had compromised the jury pool. The judge concluded that 12 impartial jurors could be found despite publicity surrounding the case. The trial was initially scheduled for 09/02/2025, but was later moved to 01/27/2026 to accommodate defense attorney Mary Chartier's schedule. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. Investigators believe Dale Warner concealed his wife's body in the dark of night inside a barn that had no security cameras. According to Greg Hardy's description of the alleged process, the tank's end cap was removed, Warner's body was placed inside, and the cap was welded completely shut. The tank was then attached to a chassis, repainted, and marked with Dale Warner's business logo to make it appear like normal equipment. It was stored alongside other tanks in the fleet to avoid suspicion. In May 2023, Warner's children filed a $100 million wrongful death lawsuit against Dale. The lawsuit aimed to prevent him from benefiting financially from any assets connected to Dee's estate. The family also fought for custody of Dale and Dee's daughter in proceedings that ran parallel to the criminal case. In September 2023, Dale was found in contempt of court and arrested for selling off assets that belonged to both him and Dee without authorization from the conservator managing her estate. He was released in October 2023, but remained under legal scrutiny from multiple directions. The case garnered national media attention. NBC's Dateline. Missing in America featured Warner's disappearance in the first season of the podcast. Investigation Discovery's Disappeared aired an episode titled Vanished in the Heartland on 10/05/2022. CBS's 48 Hours broadcast The Nobody Case of Dee Warner on 02/01/2025. The family launched a Justice for Dee campaign to raise public awareness and pressure authorities to act. Throughout the investigation, the community in Franklin Township and surrounding Lenawee County rallied behind Warner's family, offering support and maintaining focus on the search for answers. The family's ordeal had exacted an immeasurable toll. Greg Hardy told investigators that his sister had been a very strong person, likely killed because she believed she could fix Dale Warner. Hardy admitted he had been oblivious to the kind of conduct that takes place in domestic violence situations, having sided with Dale in many of the couple's feuds before realizing the extent of the abuse. The family spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators throughout the 3-year search. Hardy said he had come to grips with his sister's death long before the discovery, having resigned himself to the reality that she had been killed and her body hidden or destroyed. As Dale Warner awaits trial in January 2026, the legal framework presents 2 possible outcomes. The open murder charge allows the jury to determine the degree of the crime. If convicted of first-degree murder, which requires proof of premeditation, Warner would face a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. A second-degree murder conviction could result in life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. Prosecutors intend to present evidence of Warner's controlling behavior toward his wife, the inconsistencies in his statements to investigators, and the forensic findings that led to the discovery of her remains. The case has exposed critical vulnerabilities in recognizing and preventing domestic violence in rural communities. Family members, including Hardy, admitted they failed to identify warning signs of abuse until it was too late. Warner reportedly believed she could fix the relationship herself, a pattern commonly documented among victims of domestic violence who face difficulty leaving controlling partners. What are your thoughts on this case and what it reveals about recognizing domestic violence and the challenges of no-body murder prosecutions? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this documentary informative, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more in-depth explorations of often overlooked, lesser-known stories. Who else would you like to see us detail next? Your engagement helps us continue to shed light on otherwise unheard narratives.